We're at halftime here at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium, and joining us on our halftime show, last year he was Mr. Everything. Quarterback, punter, place kicker, and safety, Noel Prefontaine joins us at the half. Noel, a year ago you were here on this very field leading the Wildcats to a 29-7 2A championship over La Jolla. First of all, what was it like playing in the championship game in a venue like here at Jack Murphy Stadium?
Well, obviously, it's every kid's dream to be in a stadium like this. I mean, it's a great environment to play in, and to make it here is, like I said, is every kid's dream. And just being here just makes you a better person automatically.
Now, in the first quarter of this game, Torrey Pines scored on the first three possessions to take a 21-0 lead, and you must have said, this is not the El Camino defense I remember.
No, it's not. I mean, but then again, that was last year. This year's team, they do got a good defense. They got to bring it back together, and obviously they did towards the end of the half. But El Camino is a fourth quarter team, and they're going to be back, and Torrey Pines better watch out.
Well, El Camino scored 2 times. They're down just 21-13 here at the half. Now, you said you had an opportunity a couple of games to come and watch your alma mater.
Yeah, I try to make it back as much as I can. Watching El Camino from a different standpoint out in the stands is pretty, I don't know. I'd rather be playing, of course, but I mean, it was different, and, you know, I couldn't believe I was in the stands. You know, it was the first time I ever did that. It's been 3 years since I was in the stands. So.
Now, Noel, transition for you. You're in college football. This year you were at Cal State Fullerton, a member of the Titans in the Big West. First of all, kudos and congratulations as you were named second-team All-Big West as punter. That must have been a good feeling.
Yes, it was. Thank you. Coming in as a freshman, I'm making at second-team All-Big West. I mean, I have no complaints. You know, it'd be nicer to make first, but, you know, it was great. And, you know, and kicking the ball is a great thing, and I'm just glad that, you know, I made second team.
Now the transition you're going to have to go through is the Cal State Fullerton program. The football program has ended, and now you have to look to go somewhere next year to play football. What schools are you looking at?
Well, right now I have 4 scheduled visits to Arizona State, University of Arizona, Kansas, and Hawaii. And pretty much after I take those trips, then, you know, I'll decide which school I'm going to go to, of course.
Very interesting. 3 of those 4 teams happen to be playing in bowl games this year.
Yeah, I want to take myself to a better program. Not putting down Fullerton, of course, but I want to go to a winning program. You know, being a kicker, you don't get to contribute too much. So, I mean, it's always going to help to be on a winning program.
Well, Noel, you know, you did such a great job leading El Camino to a couple of 2A championships at quarterback. You played so many different positions in high school. What position did you enjoy playing the most during your high school days?
I'd have to say quarterback. Not because you get all the publicity or anything, but you feel the most involved. I mean, it feels like you're like a father to your players, and I mean, you feel like you're part of the family.
Now, you had some great surrounding talent around you. Offensively, players like Bryant Westbrook last year, Mike G, a tailback, along with Herman Gordon. Defensively, players like Mike Booker, and last year, Abdul McCullough. What was it like being surrounded by such outstanding talent?
It was great. I mean, it always helps to have outstanding talent on your football team, and you know, that obviously is a key to us winning, to the El Camino program winning.
Well, our halftime guest has been Noel Prefontaine. Last year, he was the quarterback that led the Wildcats to their 3rd consecutive 2A title. Second half action coming up in a moment. We're moments away from the start of the second half. It's Torrey Pines 21, El Camino 13. Off the opening kickoff, Torrey Pines started at their own 43-yard line. 4 plays and 57 yards later, Kevin Winters went in from 13 yards out in the lead 7-0 as you see the Cats breaking through the banner. Then El Camino got 1 first down. Then they had to punt the football. Torrey Pines then went 7 plays, 55 yards. It was a 25-yard touchdown pass to Joel Brown. Lynch had gained 14 yards on the course of that possession. Then Torrey Pines would score on their 3rd straight possession of the football game, going 6 plays, 60 yards. Joel Brown from 10 yards out, 21-0 the score. Then, the way El Camino gets on the scoreboard, a high punt over Ryan Lynch's head. Can't corral it. El Camino has the ball at the 2-yard line. Bryant Westbrook from 2 yards out. 21-7 the score. And then finally, they score with 54 seconds remaining in the first quarter, going 11 plays, 51 yards. Mike Booker from 3 yards out to score. Now on that play, Josh Stern had fumbled the football, and it was recovered by El Camino, and they score, and that's where we stand, 21-13 at the half. The halftime stats: Westbrook 70 yards rushing and a touchdown. Morrison 19 yards. Mike Flanagan 8. He's played sparingly. Creighton 18 yards. Gordon with 9 yards and Booker with 3 for the total of 127. Meanwhile, Torrey Pines Lynch 1 of 5 for 25 yards. Rushing, he has 29 yards. Joel Brown's been outstanding, 70 yards rushing, 25 receiving, and a pair of touchdowns. Josh Stern 59 yards rushing, and Kevin Winters 25 yards rushing and a touchdown. All in all for Torrey Pines, 183 yards of total offense. Carl, as we're moments away from starting the second half, first of all, how big of a lift was it for El Camino to score to end this first half, and what do you expect to see in the first 5 minutes of this second half?
That was a big lift, and I look for El Camino come out fired up and take charge of this football game. You know, an interesting stat in that first half was Brown with 70 yards and Westbrook with 70 yards. The two big runners for the first half on the rushing totals.
And it will be Torrey Pines kicking off, will be Kyle Campbell. Back deep to receive will be Seth Morrison and Mike Booker. And here we go. That's a deep kick. Actually, will be received by Booker at the 5, to the 10, 15. He's hit hard. He's in trouble. It was like all of a sudden Mike Booker hit a stone wall. And El Camino will start 1st and 10 with the ball at around the 15-yard line. We'll have to see where they place the football. There's Herb Meyer. And they rule the ball just inside the 20 at the 19-yard line. And let's see what El Camino does as they start 1st and 10. They work out of the I formation. Creighton back to pass, looking to open things up. Ames fires. And Creighton goes down. That's a loss of 4, going to bring up 2nd and 14. The ball back at the 14-yard line. Creighton never had a chance there, Carl.
Loss of 4, 2nd down, 14, Wildcats from their own 14-yard line.
You take a look at the El Camino sideline. 21-13 the score. They were down 21-0 at the half. There's the close-up of the quarterback, Trey Creighton. They give fake to Morrison, pitch to the outside. Some running room. And brought down at around the 25-yard line is Bryant Westbrook. He was actually following a block from his small wide receiver, number 2, Timmy Badillo, who goes all of 5'5", 145.
That's what they have to do to get Westbrook out wide, pitch to him, and let him use his speed to outrun the Falcon defenders.
Well, the ball's on the 25-yard line. Bring up 3rd down and 3. 10:26 and ticking here in quarter number 3. If you just joined us, you're watching the 2A CIF High School Football Championship game. El Camino and Torrey Pines. Creighton to pass. He completes. And it's good for a 1st down. Let's get a close-up of the receiver who made that reception. It's the tight end, number 41, Prescott Unatoa. So Trey Creighton able to complete his first pass, and El Camino picks up a 1st down. And you know what, Carl? They probably surprised Torrey Pines because they completed a pass.
Would you believe this late in the game they would be trying to their first pass completion?
2 receivers set to the left. They give the ball off left side to Westbrook. He's got some running room. And some decent yardage on 1st down. He's got the ball at around the 44-yard line. Good for a 5-yard pickup. You know, anytime Bryant Westbrook runs with the football, you know he always has an opportunity for a big gain.
He's a threat. He puts a move on you, and he has tremendous speed, and he's strong. He's a strong runner.
They actually rule it a 6-yard pickup, so it brings up 2nd down, 4 yards to go. Torrey Pines offensively in these playoffs have scored 40, 32, and 27 points. The ball to Morrison. No Creighton on the keeper. He's up ahead to about the 44, almost the 45. And it's going to bring up 3rd down and short as you see the official rule. So it's going to bring up third down and about 1 yard to go, Carl. What do you look for play call-wise here from the El Camino Wildcats?
There's about less than a yard to go. I look for something right up the middle here with Westbrook.
Well, the El Camino Wildcats are attempting to four-peat as champs, and they're going to measure for the first down. It's amazing that El Camino has won 15 consecutive playoff games. Herb knows how to win the big ones. They check for the first down, and it's just inches, so it's going to bring up third and very short, and I'm sure we'll see everyone on the line of scrimmage coming up on this play call. Now, I ask you, Carl, do you run the ball straight up the middle or try and run something to the outside?
Well, you're just a few inches away. I think that with that offensive line that the Wildcats have, they ought to be able to move a lighter line back a few inches and pick up the first down.
El Camino on the year. They run the ball to Westbrook, first down and more. He's close to midfield. So good pickup there by Bryant Westbrook, the senior. Entering tonight on the season, Carl, El Camino is average scoring 23.5 points a game, just 7.2. So that tells you what type of offense Torrey Pines has, because they've scored 21 points already tonight.
That's a lot of points to be scored against that defense by the Wildcats.
They have the ball, 1st and 10 with the ball on the 49. Creighton on the keeper, flips outside to Flanagan, 50, 45, and brought down at the Torrey Pines 43-yard line. So that's a good pickup of 7 yards, going to bring up 2nd and 3. And I'll tell you what, give Bryant Westbrook a rest. Give it to Mike Flanagan. Not a bad guy to give it to, a guy who has almost 1,000 yards rushing this season.
And that's right, and you can even put Booker in that backfield, let him run with the football because he's a good offensive runner also. It's second about 2 yards.
2nd and 2, so it's a pickup of 8 with the ball at the Falcon 43-yard line. Creighton barks the signals. Loose ball. Creighton in trouble. And he's back at the 45-yard line. Brian Batson, number 66, brings him down, along with Jaron Pollock, number 55. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 4. Simply on the exchange, Creighton never had a handle on that football.
Mark, this is a crucial play right now. They've got to pick up that first down to keep their drive going, to keep the momentum, and have no letdown on the part of the Wildcats. And the Falcons have to try to hold them on this play and force them to punt so they can get the football back.
7:08 and ticking here in quarter number 3. 21-13, 3rd and 4 from the 45. They pitch to the outside to Westbrook. Cuts to the inside, nothing doing. He's brought down at the 44. Off a 1-yard pickup. Nice tackle by Pollock. Batson and company also help out on the tackle. They peel off the bodies, and Ryan Lynch was also in the mess. 4th down coming up. Watch the replay here, Carl.
There's a wide pitch to the left side of the line, and Lynch is right in that pile. There's quarterbacks right there leading the attack on defense. He's a tough-nosed football player.
Well, the situation is this. It's 4th down, 2 yards to go, and El Camino is going for the first down. Creighton fumbles the exchange. Loose ball. We also have a flag flying on the play. And Clarence Martin seems to be pointing at Torrey Pines. Torrey Pines is saying, we have the football. Let the official figure things out here. Illegal procedure against El Camino. Well, one thing that's in El Camino's favor is that since the penalty was against them, illegal procedure, the penalty must be taken. And now El Camino will get into punt formation.
Mark, I've never seen Herb Meyer in 30 years elect to run in a situation like that. He generally plays it safe and punts the football.
Well, obviously a championship on the line. He wants to try and pull out all the stops. Josh Johnson in punt formation. Standing back on his own 40-yard line. Nobody back deep to receive, so let's see how much pressure they put on the kicker. Not much. Kick up, end over end. Fair catch called at the 25-yard line by a sliding Brett Marshall, and that's where Torrey Pines will start 1st and 10. So the Falcon offense will come out for the first time with 5:59 remaining to play here in quarter number 3. Ryan Lynch will get the signals. We'll see what he comes out with on the offensive set. Torrey Pines amasses 182 yards rushing and another 25 passing. Not shabby. 207 yards of total offense against the #1 defense in San Diego County.
They're having a good night, Mark.
There is Ryan Lynch. Gives the ball to Winters. He's stacked up at the line. Junior Lai, Alex Munoz, and Anthony Sega all in on the tackle. Going to bring up 2nd and 10, no gain.
Inside handoff to Kevin Winters. Junior Lee on the stop.
Going to bring up 2nd and 10 for Torrey Pines with the ball on their own 25. They were stuffed on the first-yard run. Reed sets to the right. Kyle, the receiver, to the right, and they give to Joel Brown. To the 30, dances his way to the 35. And that's probably good for a first down. Joel Brown has been an outstanding offensive performer tonight. He scored a couple of touchdowns and might have picked up a first down right there.
Mark, the Falcons shifted their line down that time. They were unbalanced to the right, and I didn't see where El Camino was shifting down like they had earlier. But, of course, this is just the starting of the quarter, and maybe they've got to get used to that, them shifting around quite a bit in the on the offensive team there by the Falcons.
Well, it's a pickup of 9, brings up 3rd and 1. Lynch gives straight up the middle to Stern. Didn't get much, didn't need much. Buddy Brown makes the tackle, and it appears to be enough for a first down. Also, Junior Lai. That was an El Camino sandwich. So first down for the Torrey Pine Falcons. 4:35 and ticking to go here in quarter number 3. How important is it here for the El Camino defense to stand tall?
They have to stop them right on this drive and take momentum, get that football back.
Chris Creighton in at defensive back. Set on the left side. 7-man front. They give the ball on the sweep to the outside to Winters, which has been so effective. But Mike Booker throws him back. That's the throwback of the night. Mike Booker picks him up like a rag doll and throws him back to the 28. We'll have to see where they place his forward momentum, actually closer to the 30. Let's see if we can take a look on replay.
He runs around the end there, and Booker fights off 2 blockers and makes a tackle for a 2-yard loss.
Mike Booker says, I do reps of Kevin Winters. Loss of 1 brings up 2nd and 11. So they place the ball at the 34-yard line. Lynch gives off right side to Brown. Halfback option. Incomplete. A play that they completed so beautifully against Oceanside in the quarterfinal round for a 32-yard pickup. Brown to Winters. We now have a penalty flag, and it's probably illegal motion. And this one's going to go against Torrey Pines, Carl.
You know, Mark, with the Brown pulled up a little bit too soon and showed pass that time, and with the speed of the secondary and the Wildcat defense, they could react to that, and they did real well and knocked the football down when he threw it. They had a good coverage on that particular play.
And the call is holding against Torrey Pines. That'll cost them some big-time yardage back to the 21. Brings up 2nd down, 24 yards to go. So the Falcons need to get to the 45 to pick up a first down. The thing amazing about Herb Meyer in all his years at El Camino, just 2 losing seasons. Winters gives to Brown. He's got the ball in running room. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. And he's brought down at the 48-yard line. Well, he needed 21 yards, 24 yards. He picked up 27, and that's good for a Torrey Pines first down. Let's see if we can get a replay on that one. Here it is. Brown.
It's a little inside reverse. Brown comes back to right side, gets good running room, and it's a foot race there, and caught behind by number 27, Mike Booker.
Booker makes the tackle, 1st and 10. Lynch on the run to the 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. And he's brought down at the 15-yard line. Ryan Lynch does such a great job of faking the pass. He bootlegs to his left, gets by about 5 tacklers, and he picks up 40 yards on the run.
He's around the left end, and when he's another dimension when he runs that football, and they're down knocking at the door.
That was actually a 35-yard run, and my excitement, my addition was wrong. 1st and 10 with the ball at the 15-yard line of El Camino. Actually at the 18-yard line as Lynch calls signals. They give the ball up the middle to Josh Stern. 15, 10, 5, touchdown Torrey Pines. Josh Stern from 18 yards out. He hugs Joel Brown, and the score now becomes 27-13.
He takes a snap, fakes the little hand up right up the middle, and he goes right up the middle untouched. I think the secondary then by the Wildcats is chasing butterflies.
Time for the extra point, and that means Ryan Lynch, this off of Gavin Hamill's hold. The kick is up, and it splits the uprights good. So 28-13, the Falcons retake command of this football game with 2:26 remaining to play in quarter number 3. That an impressive drive by Torrey Pines. They traveled 75 yards on 8 plays. And finally, the touchdown run of Josh Stern of 18 yards. What happened there, Carl, on that defensive series by El Camino?
We had a little relaxation there on the part of the Wildcats. Of course, Lynch's big run there was a big key play there around that left side, and he's a money player. When they need it, they seem to go to him for a big gain on a play.
Joel Brown now with 106 yards rushing on the night. Josh Stern, who scored from 18 yards out earlier, had a 32-yard run of his own, so Brown's put up some decent, Josh Stern has put up some decent numbers. Kyle Campbell will be kicking things off. 14 first downs now. Look at that ball. Talk about a boomer. Into the end zone. They'll have to start 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Torrey Pines now 267 yards rushing, add 25 yards passing, and Carl 292 yards of total offense.
You know, Mark, I didn't think that the Falcons could hold up. They seem to be they came out at the half and with a good spark, and they're playing some good football right now.
1st and 10 for El Camino with the ball on their own 20 as they work out of the I formation. Creighton to pass. Looks for Robinson, incomplete. And he takes a shot from Ryan Lynch. And Robinson is still on the ground. Let's get a close-up of Ronald Robinson. He's down there. He took a hot hit from Ryan Lynch. We're going to take a look at replay of this hard hit by Ryan Lynch. This is the hit of the night.
Creighton goes back, and he throws, and he's outstretched arms, and he's going up after the football, and Lynch just hits him real hard with the shoulder, and it looks like they may have knocked the wind out of him.
And he is still down on the ground. And we'll have to wait with the stoppage of play. I'd like to remind you that the sponsor of high school football is the 101 Cafe. The 101 Cafe is located on South Hill Street in Oceanside, and they're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Owner and operator John Daly. He has had 3 children who have graduated from El Camino High School. He played at Oceanside High School for Herb Meyer back in the mid to late 60s. John Daly and the 101 Cafe is the sponsor of the high school football championship game. Creighton to pass over the middle. Herman Gordon had it, dropped it, incomplete. Incomplete pass. Mike Hariff, meanwhile, was thinking 6 points. What about that jugular action by Herman Gordon? That's a pass I felt that was certainly catchable.
That's right. That was very catchable. He just dropped it.
Well, it's going to bring up 3rd down and 10 with the ball on the 20. And the Cats sure need a first down as the temperature continues to plummet here at San Diego's Jack Murphy Stadium. I know my hand's starting to get numb. Bryant Westbrook on the carry. Nothing doing. Nothing doing. And the tackle for Torrey Pines, a strong tackle made by number 60, Shan Dada Gupta, a 5'5", 176-pound senior. Please, don't try and announce that name at home. But a strong defensive play stopped Westbrook. It brings up 4th and 10, and the Cats are in punt formation. Close, standing back on his one, gets it up end over end. Fair catch is called by Marshall. Loose ball. And the ball is for Torrey Pines. They'll have it 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. So Brett Marshall made that one an almost experience for Torrey Pines.
That was a good kick, though, by the Wildcats. There's still, one first down for the Falcons, and they're back in 4-down territory. But it certainly puts the Wildcats in a hole when they don't have a good punting game and a kicking game.
Well, the 28 points that's been scored by Torrey Pines is the most that the Wildcats have given up all season long. 22 points Torrey Pines scored in the first meeting between the two. They give the ball off left side to Stern. 50, 45, 40, and down to the 38-yard line. Chris Creighton on the tackle. And entering the game for the first time is backup quarterback Gavin Hamels, number 7. And that's good for first down yardage. Let's watch it on replay. Straight up the gut to Stern. Takes on one defensive man and then knocks over Creighton before falling down at the El Camino 38-yard line. So Gavin Hamels operates 1st and 10 from the Cap 38-yard line. Inside counter gives to Joel Brown. Running room, 25, 20, 15, down to the 13-yard line. And the big holes continue to open up for Torrey Pines. Renal Robinson, who checks back into the game, makes the tackle. Joel Brown with a big-time pickup there as he picks up 14 yards. Actually, 24 yards, excuse me. What a nice run there by Joel Brown.
Mark, the Falcon line is opening up some big holes for those runners now.
And Torrey Pines on the march again. 1st and 10 from the 14. Brown gives to Winters. Good defense right there. Chapman started on the tackle. Others helped out, and Chapman holding his hip on the play. And Chapman's still down on the ground. So in the last couple of plays, Carl, we've seen Renal Robinson hurt, but he comes back in, and now holding his left side of his hip is Brian Chapman.
That's one of their outstanding players on both on offense and defense. He goes both ways. He's probably getting a little tired, Mark. The poor kid's been out there the whole ball game so far. And at the present time, the Falcon offensive line is handling the defensive line of the Wildcats, which is kind of hard to believe, but they are doing a good job and making the secondary come up and make the tackles and drag those backs down after they get a good head start. It's difficult with the strength of a Brown and Stern and Winters in there.
Well, some numbers to throw at you. Joel Brown, 130 yards rushing. Josh Stern, 98. Those numbers brought to us by Mr. Accountant himself, Neil Glass, who's been our statistician throughout our high school football games this season. And Brian Chapman still down on the ground. As you take a look back at El Camino, they've won 6 CIF championships. 1976, they defeated Kearney that year. In 82, they had a tie with Point Loma. They were co-champs. 1984, 1989, 90, and 91.
Mark, are we seeing an end of a dynasty here with Herb Meyer's coaching career?
And
right.
Carl, here we are, as everyone can see why we've been talking about that it's cold, because we're out in the open right here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
We're kind of out in left field. It's Lonesome George out here. My hands are freezing.
There we are. We have a section to ourselves. The pass is incomplete. They were looking for Joel Brown. Nice job defensively there, as you saw the quick shot of us up here out of left field. I'll tell you, we really do have our own section. I mean, we've had more people come up to us in the press box when we've done a game at a high school football game, Carl.
That's right. One of my ex-players just came by, Mike Papsiak, and wanted to talk to me, but he could see that we're real busy here, so he just said hello and left.
So it's going to bring up 3rd down, 12 yards to go with the ball on the El Camino 16-yard line. Hamels bark signals. Gives the ball straight up the gut to Josh Stern. And he works his way down to about the 10 or 11-yard line. That'll bring up 4th down. And that's going to conclude quarter number 3. With your score from San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium in the 2A championship game, Torrey Pines 28, El Camino 13. 4th quarter action coming up. Well, fourth quarter action will be coming up, and the Torrey Pines Falcons are knocking on the door once again. Just before we start the fourth quarter, we'd like to remind you a sponsor of high school football is Westlow Chevrolet in Car Country, Carlsbad. Westlow Chevrolet, which is owned and operated by Michael Westlow, a longtime CIF official of high school football. He's been a referee for 9 years. Westlow Chevrolet in Car Country, Carlsbad is a proud sponsor of high school football here on the championship game. As we open up quarter number 4, Lynch to attempt the 30-yard field goal off of Gavin Hamill's hole. Flags fly. We'll have to see who the penalty's against here, Carl.
Mike Booker's pointing on the Torrey Pines team.
We have illegal procedure against Torrey Pines, and that will cost the Falcons 5 yards. So this will now become a 35-yard field goal attempt. You think Lynch has the leg to nail this one?
I think he could kick it clear over almost over the scoreboard, Mark. He has a tremendous leg.
Over the scoreboard, Carl?
Right.
Let's not exaggerate now. But it's a 35-yard field goal attempt off of Gavin Hamill's hole. The senior attempts the kick. It is up. And did it clear it good? Yes, it did. 31-13 now is your score. And the Torrey Pines sideline and fans on their feet. They are sensing their first ever 2A championship with 11:56 remaining to play in this football contest.
You know, that snap was high, and the holder got the ball down, and Lynch did a good job of getting it up there. And it was cleared it. It was a good kick.
And of all the stats that I've heard and I've kept track of, the only stat that I saw that was against El Camino entering this game was that 2 times in their history they lost to a team during the regular season and then lost to that same team in the playoffs. It happened in 1978 against Escondido, and it happened in 1988 against San Pasqual. And unless something changes, Carl, you'll be able to add 1992 Torrey Pines.
That's right. They had definitely at this time had the momentum.
That drive, 6 plays, 58 yards. And the field goal of Lynch good from 35 yards to make the score 31-13. The kickoff from Campbell, it is high, it is deep. And guess what? It's going to be 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. And we were talking about the kicking of Kyle Campbell and the fact that he can take Booker and Westbrook out of the game as far as not being able to return kicks. And so far, Booker's returned 1, Westbrook's returned 1, and that's been it.
And that kick was about 5 yards into the end zone. I think the kid's getting stronger as the game goes along.
I think the one thing I just realized I might want for either a Christmas or Hanukkah gift is a pair of gloves, because it's nippy out here in the fourth quarter. Creighton gives to Westbrook to the outside. 25, 30, and out ahead to the 35-yard line. That's good for a 15-yard pickup and a Wildcat first down. So Bryant Westbrook continues to pick up the yardage. That'll put him over 100 yards rushing for the night. Brent Mardian makes the tackle.
Mark, let's see if the Wildcats can fire up that offense and make a drive down and pick up a score here to see if they can't more or less get back in the football game.
Take a look on replay.
He's around the right end, and a nice big gain of 15 yards on the play.
Westbrook with 110 yards. They give the ball now to Seth Morrison. He vaults ahead to about the 38-yard line. Good for a 3-yard pickup, bringing up 2nd and 7. Right now, time not really a factor with 11:20, but El Camino needs some quick points. They trail by 18, 31-13. The question is, can El Camino make one of the most miraculous comebacks ever in football playoff history?
Well, if any team in the county could do it with their talent at the skill positions, they certainly have a shot at it, Mark.
Torrey Pines offensively, 314 yards rushing to El Camino's 147. Creighton on the keeper. He's in trouble. He's going down, and we also have a penalty flag down on the play. Creighton tackled back at the 30-yard line by Jerome Pollock. Number 55's been all over the place defensively for the Falcons tonight. Let's zero in on the official, the man in the white cap, and let's wait for the official call. And they're going to march off yardage against Torrey Pines. It's going to go against the Falcons. They called intentional face mask against Torrey Pines. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down with the ball at midfield. As we have 10:40 remaining to play here in quarter number 4, 31-13, Torrey Pines leads El Camino here in the 2A High School Football Championships. Earlier it was Morris over Poway, 12-3. Creighton on the keeper, dishes off to Westbrook. He's in trouble and he's going down for the count. Creighton had nothing to do. What does he do? He gives it to Bryant Westbrook, and there are 5 or 6 defenders from Torrey Pines. Creighton says, I'm not going to take the hit. I'm going to give it to Bryant. Let him take the hit. Some friend he is.
There's no room on that side. They just, the Falcons are right there to defend, waiting for the pitch.
Overall, this defensive Torrey Pines, they're not big, but they're quick. On the line, 197, 202, and 200 pounds. Linebackers, 188, 172, 191, 214. And then the defensive backs. Creighton back to pass. Ames fires. Renal Robinson had it, then dropped it. Should have had it. Still down on the ground. He took a hard hit from Ryan Lynch. And what about the hits that Lynch puts on? He's been having a field day with Renal Robinson tonight.
He's a tough kid, Mark. You know, one thing that Burke emphasizes at Torrey Pines is that on their defense, they never get out of position. They always play position football. And that's it in high school and any other sport, actually. If you're in position, you have a much better chance of making the plays.
It brings up third down, 12 yards to go with the ball on the 49-yard line. Creighton barks signals, 9:43 remaining in the contest. Creighton on the keeper. Gains yardage, but certainly not enough for the first down. Brian Batson finishes him off. He's into Torrey Pines territory at the 47. That's going to bring up fourth down. And I would think El Camino really needs to go for it here. It appears they're going into punt formation, Carl.
Well, they're still playing it safe.
Fourth down and 7. Now they're going to go for it. And they've got a 3-man backfield. Now they fake and they go into punt formation. Flags fly, and El Camino's hoping maybe they could have pulled off offsides against Torrey Pines, which would cost the Falcons 5 yards. And we've got offsides against Torrey Pines. So instead of 4th and 7, it now becomes 4th and 2. And Carl Wickham, I'm sure Herb Meyer now with a 4th and 2 will go for it.
Now he'll go for it. But that was a smart play by the Wildcats. And the Falcons took the bait and jumped offside, and it just killed them. There's 4th and about a 1 yard to go, which I'm sure that the Wildcats can very easily make.
Fourth down, 2 yards to go with the ball on the 41-yard line. Creighton gives to Westbrook. He's got the first down and more down at the 35-yard line. So the clock will continue to tick. 31-13, Torrey Pines leads El Camino. And I'll tell you what, Ed Burke and the Torrey Pine Falcons have just been extremely well prepared both times they played El Camino. You would have thought entering tonight that El Camino would be fired up, trying to get revenge for the team that beat them the only time this year entering tonight. But it was really Torrey Pines and their emotion which took over this football game early.
That's right, Mark, and I think it's just been an outstanding job by Burke of coaching tonight.
It's going to bring up 1st and 10 with the ball at the Falcon 36. Flags fly. You know, Joel Brown and Josh Stern have been the offensive stars. Kevin Winters has also contributed as well. They call illegal procedure against El Camino will cost them 5. Just to recap the scoring, Torrey Pines scored off their first possession, 4 plays, 57 yards. Now, Josh Stern had a 37-yard gain, and then Winters goes in from 13 yards out. On their second drive, 7 plays, 55 yards, it was Brown who caught a 25-yard touchdown pass. We'll give you the rest of the scoring in a moment. They give the ball straight up the middle. Now fake it. They give to Westbrook, and he's in trouble. Stacked up at the 42. And Bryant Westbrook has been seeing a sea of Cardinal and gold tonight.
Well, what they're doing, Mark, is they're just signing a couple of guys on defense to him, and he just doesn't have any running room a lot of the time, just can't get anywhere.
It was John Vance who started him off, and the rest of the defense finished him off. So it was 14-0. Then they scored their third touchdown. Brown on a 10-yard touchdown run capped the 6-play, 65-yard drive. He had also gained 25 yards on another run. And then Westbrook's 2-yard run got him on the scoreboard 21-7. Creighton to pass, has plenty of time, cannot find a receiver. Now on the keeper. This is an adventure. The 40 up ahead to around the 43. All of that for about a couple of yards.
He's all over the field running back here.
Actually, checking, he was on the keeper down to the 37 as they're in Torrey Pines territory. Stopping the clock with 7:24 remaining.
You know, Mark,
So
the
it's gonna
only
bring up 4th down and 7.
the only yardage that counts is what goes upfield, not running from side to side.
Actually, they rule a 3rd down about 10 yards to go with the ball at the 36, which is where they started off. Receivers set to the right are Gordon and Badillo. 2-man backfield. Creighton, he's going to pass. He's got time. Ames, fires. No excuse for dropping that football. That was a 1st down and more. Dropping the ball, the senior Herman Gordon, who has usually a good pair of hands, Carl.
Well, he hit him right in the hands. A well-thrown football, and that would have been enough to pick up a 1st down.
Well, the closest El Camino got into this game was with 54 seconds remaining as you see the drop pass. Booker went from 3 yards out. That all started with recovering a fumble. And then in this second half of play, Lynch had a 25-yard field goal, actually a 35-yard field goal. And they also scored on another touchdown play in punt formation. They're going to fake it. Creighton passes, and the ball's incomplete. And for all intensive purposes, with 7:12 remaining and Torrey Pines taking off over a downs, unless El Camino comes up with something I've never seen in football before, Carl, it looks like the string of championships for the Wildcats will be coming to a conclusion.
It's going to be difficult with that 31-13 score with 7:12 in the football game to come back and win it.
There's the replay of the fake. And the
Another
ball was
drop
incomplete.
pass.
Torrey Pines will have the ball 1st and 10. They run the ball straight up the middle, not much doing. Right now, Torrey Pines simply wants to keep the football on the ground. It was Josh Stern who carried. One of the few times he hasn't had big yardage tonight. And right now, Carl, Torrey Pines content to keep the ball on the ground and just run time off the clock.
What they want to do is sustain a drive and run off about 5 minutes here and get the clock down where there's no chance for the Wildcats to come back.
Gavin Hamels in at quarterback, gives the ball off left side to Kevin Winters, cuts back 40, and he's brought down at around the 41-yard line. It's going to bring up 3rd down. So Kevin Winters, who scored the team's first touchdown of the night, he's combined with Joel Brown and Josh Stern. 315 yards rushing tonight for the Torrey Pine Falcons. They've done an outstanding job, another 25 yards of passing, 340 yards of total offense. Not often that a team runs up yardage like that on the El Camino Wildcats, but they've done it tonight. And for the first time all night, Carl Wickham is speechless. With the ball at the 40, Hamels fakes, he's going to go back to pass. Ames fires, broken up nicely defensively. Nice breakup. Booker came in to break that one up. It's going to bring up 4th down.
You know, the Wildcats could certainly pick one off here. They had a chance right there with Mike Booker. That was pretty close, and would give them good field position to put a score on the board.
I think we might have had a penalty on the play, and we do. They call personal foul against the Wildcats, costing them 15 yards. Torrey Pines will have 1st and 10 at the Wildcat 44-yard line.
And keeps that drive going, Mark, which is what they have to do to eat clock time. It's down to 6:06 right now.
And continuing the tick. They give the ball to Brown. He's got running room. The 25, 20, and brought down at the 16-yard line, and a flag goes down at the end of the play. "25-yard pickup there by Joel Brown. Penalty at the end. I think we might have a face mask here against the Wildcats. At the end by Mike Booker, and simply in frustration. It's been a long night for the Wildcats.
Joel Brown made another outstanding run right up the middle, and good blocking by the offensive line, and picks up a big gain. And the penalty, of course, where's that going to put him? On about the 9-yard line?
You just saw a close-up of the referee, Lou Furrer. He and the officiating staff, they've done a good job tonight. Really no controversial calls in this contest. First and goal with the ball at the 9. At this point, Torrey Pines looking just to try and increase the lead in this game. They give the ball straight up the middle. Flag flies. The carry Stern. He has the ball to the 6. Many times when they get inside the 10, they'll give it to Stern, number 32, their durable back. It's going to be a hold against Torrey Pines, so that'll march him back. We have 5:40 remaining in this contest. We like to remind you at the end of the contest, we'll have the presentation of the championship trophy, along with interviewing our outstanding player of the game, and I would say at this point it has to be Joel Brown.
He's had a tremendous night, Mark, and he's picked up a lot of yardage tonight.
He most certainly has. He has certainly contributed to over 300 yards rushing for the team tonight. Brown with the ball dances his way down to the 10-yard line. So the yardage they lost on the penalty, they gained right back on the run with Joel Brown. Good for 10.
You know, he's a strong, shifty, fast runner. Of course, the offensive line opens up big holes for him to run through.
So how would you sum up tonight's game as the story being?
Mark, like you said a while ago, it's a shocker to me. I thought El Camino would put up a much better football game they did tonight.
Well, the left side's flooded for Hamels. Ames, fires, almost picked off.
There's another good example where the Wildcats have a chance to pick off the football and they drop it again.
And that pass was almost picked off by Prescott Unatoa, their linebacker. I'll tell you, it's been a case of I've got it, I don't got it tonight for El Camino. Receivers have not held on to the ball. Right there, an interception they could have had, would have had, should have had, but didn't have.
You know, Mark, another thing that's hurt the Wildcats, they haven't played a team like this that shifts so much and does a lot of different things.
Well, it obviously affects them, and they're going to have to come up with the answer next season. Hamels gives the ball off right side to Stern. Touchdown, Torrey Pines. Josh Stern from 10 yards out. 4:50 remains. Torrey Pines leads 37-13. And the Falcons are going to be your 2A champions as we take a look on replay.
Stern goes off the right side and breaks the line, and he's hit at the 1-yard line there, but he drives right into the end zone. And that more or less does it with 4:50 to go. That puts the game at 37-13. I'm afraid it's all over for the Wildcat dynasty.
Ryan Lynch in for the extra point off of Gavin Hamels' hold. The kick is up, and it is good. 4:50 remains, and your score, the Torrey Pine Falcons 38, the El Camino Wildcats 13. Well, here at Jack Murphy Stadium, a place where El Camino the last 3 years has celebrated as 2A champs. Tonight they've taken it on the chin, and they're going to have to settle for 2A runner-up.
You know, Mark, I feel kind of bad for my old buddy Herb Meyer over there, but he's had his glory days, and he has to shove over this year and move over for Ed Burke, who has had an outstanding year with his football team and done a tremendous job coaching.
Well, as a matter of fact, that drive for Torrey Pines covered 7 plays, 63 yards. Josh Stern from 10 yards out. Torrey Pines now has 16 first downs. Penalty yardage, Torrey Pines 7 of 84, El Camino 5 for 48. But no penalty was worse than the one that wiped out early on an apparent Bryant Westbrook 63-yard touchdown run. That really set the tone for the night. The kick is up and it's short. It'll be taken at the 11 by Mike Booker. To the 15, passes to Westbrook. Westbrook in trouble, and he's ahead to the 19-yard line. You know, it's been a tough night for Bryant Westbrook. The Torrey Pine Falcons have really decided they were not going to let number 20 beat them tonight.
They've done a good job of defense, and, of course, he's the key that they've been keying on, and they're certainly haven't been out of position much tonight.
Well, Joel Brown, 163 yards rushing unofficially. Josh Stern, 124 yards. Outstanding efforts by those two running backs, both seniors.
Mark, Joel's got to be the game player of the night tonight.
He is. He was our player of the game in the quarterfinals in their win over Oceanside. The ball off right side. Now the backup quarterback, Brian Rose, into the contest. He wears number 5. He's a senior, and the backup quarterback, Trey Creighton, will be able to watch the remainder at least from the sidelines. And right now you'll see A lot of guys who normally don't play that much come into the contest.
It's always nice to get the subs in for CIF final game.
Setting up to the left side, number 12, Damon Torres, and number 82, Dale Seiler, as they're faced with a 2nd and 6. On the carry, Seth Morrison works his way up to around the 27-yard line. You take a look at El Camino for next year, because that's really the only place you can look as far as the way this contest has gone. Seth Morrison, just a sophomore, had some good rushing games. He'll be back next year as a junior to lead the offense. Trey Creighton will be back as a senior quarterback.
And they also have those big 235, 40-pound sophomore linemen in there. So, you know, Herb Boys comes up with a good football team, and they'll be back next year.
They will be, but it is not the year of the Wildcat. It becomes the year of the Falcon. They flip the ball off left side to Westbrook. The 25-30. And that'll be good for a first down. So Bryant Westbrook picks up first down yardage. At this point, the Cats just playing for pride with 2:55 and ticking to go in this contest.
Mark, I'd like to see the Wildcats put one on the board just to show that they can make a little comeback here and do a good job against a lot of the Torrey Pine reserves.
Once again, Torres and Seiler set to the right side. They work out of the I formation. The give to Westbrook. Gets to the outside. 35. Down at the 38. Now, if you'll notice, every time Westbrook gets away from one player, there's somebody else there standing in his way, and they do a good job of gang tackling.
You know, they're tenacious. They just they go to the football like gangbusters. You just I've never seen a team quite like that in a high school football game.
Well, 335 yards of rushing for Torrey Pines has been the story tonight, a total of 360 yards of offense. They scored quickly. They scored often. They had a 21-0 lead through one. It was 21-13 at the half, 28-13 through three, and now the current 38-13 score. If you could look back at the game, Carl, and signify a turning point in this football game, what would it be?
Well, the beginning, as you mentioned earlier, when they called that long run by Westbrook back, I think that kind of deflated the Wildcat machine a little bit and gave Torrey Pines a lot of momentum there.
And we've got an injured player down on the field for El Camino. I think it might have been an offensive lineman on the play who's down on the ground.
You know, Mark, you mentioned earlier about Herb Meyer flying out at 11:05 or so to Chicago. It's going to be a long plane ride for him, I'm afraid.
It's going to be a long and lonely flight for Coach Meyer. As a matter of fact, in Indianapolis on Monday, he'll be receiving a National Achievement Award for all of his years of outstanding high school football coaching and the job he's done with athletics, both at Oceanside and El Camino High Schools. Now being helped up to his feet is Larry Weber, their offensive lineman. He'll be back, a junior, 6', 200. Now, Weber was out for a number of games this year when he had a pinched nerve. So he's a fellow who will be back, and he's being helped off the field by both Christian Morales and Gabe Nolasco. 2:19 remains in the game. The 101 Cafe in Oceanside on South Hill Street is a sponsor of high school football. They're open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. John Daly, owner and operator. 3 kids have graduated from El Camino. Off left side to Flanagan. He's going to be stood up by Torrey Pines. And I think right there that play has been emblematic of this football game, is the fact that Torrey Pines has used gang tackling. They have zeroed in on the key offensive players for El Camino, and they've been able to avoid giving up the big play.
That's right, Mark. Once they establish where the football is going to be run, they emphasize everybody get to the football and help out.
Well, the clock stops with 1:46 remaining. 3rd and 1 coming up with the ball at the 41-yard line. And I'll tell you what, the temperature continues to plummet as my right hand is almost frozen. They give the ball to Westbrook, first down and more. Up ahead to the 45-yard line. Stopping the clock with 1:26. There's the scoreboard. That's been the story. 38-13, Torrey Pines. Mark Eller along with Carl Wickham out in the wide open. We're out actually around, I'd say, the 5-yard line in the plaza level. We actually have a pretty nice view here. as the clock continues to tick, that being the story. And so for the 6th straight year in a row, a team from the Avocado League, Carl Wickham, is going to be the 2A champion of San Diego County. That says a lot about the Avocado League.
It's a good, strong league, Mark, and the power is up north.
Rose. They give the ball up the middle, some good running room, good for a first down on the carry, number 47, Will Daniels. He's a senior fullback, 5'8", 185. And he's into Torrey Pines territory with the ball down at the 48-yard line. Actually closer to the 45. And the Wildcats call a timeout with 50 seconds remaining. So 38-13 the score. The story once again has been the Torrey Pines running game. And Ed Burke gets doused by the Gatorade by the sideline of the Torrey Pine Falcons. There's Herb Meyer talking to his team here in the waning moments of the football game. I'm trying to think, when was the first time that a team doused their coach with Gatorade or water? I think it must have been an NFL game. I truly remember when Bill Parcells got dished over with the Gatorade when the Giants won one of their 2 Super Bowls back in the 80s.
You know, they used to wait till you got in the locker room, then they'd throw you in the shower, but they do it on the field now. They're getting a little more bold.
Rose gives the ball off right side. Some running room. On the carry was number 26, Dan Williams, a senior tailback, 5'9", 160. So now a lot of the kids from the JV or didn't play much on the varsity getting some playing time here in the waning moments as we hit 30 seconds remaining to play in this football game.
And what the Falcons are trying to do now is get everyone in the ball game so that the kids can look back on when they're 35, 40 years old and say, hey, I was in a CIF game in 1992 down at the stadium.
Once again on the carry, Will Daniels. He has the first down, stopping the clock with 14 seconds. He's down to the Torrey Pines 32-yard line, but tonight it's been all Torrey Pines. And our KOCT player of the game, Joel Brown, we'll see if we can get a hold of him on the post-game show. That'll take place after the championship trophy is presented to the Torrey Pine Falcons as the 2A champs. There's our cameraman, Lester Russell. He's done a good, solid job for us once again. 2nd consecutive year that Lester's been one of the cameramen here for us on the KOCT High School Football Game of the Week. You know, right around the corner, we've got basketball coming your way, and we start our basketball coverage a week from tonight. It will be Miracosta as the Spartans will take on last year junior college champion Cerritos. And then starting in mid-January, we'll put the toss up in the air for high school hoops as El Camino will take on Oceanside. There's the members of the crew right by the Charger touchdown line. 14 seconds remain. Rose is going to attempt to pass the southpaw on the run. Down to the 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and brought out of bounds at around the 6-yard line, stopping the clock with 3 seconds remaining. That was a nice 26-yard pickup by the backup quarterback, Brian Rose.
That was a good run on a fake pass around that left side. You know, one gentleman I'm really happy for tonight is a former Oceanside Pirate, Frank Chambliss.
He's the defensive coordinator of this Torrey Pine Falcons team. You know, Rose in an earlier game against San Marcos on the game's final play ran for a touchdown score of 47 yards, so he can certainly scamper with the football. First and goal with the ball at the 6, 3 seconds remaining. Right here, the Cats playing for pride to see if they can knock it in. Daniels and Williams in the backfield. Rose rolling to his left, goes end zone, incomplete, and that will do it for the ball game. With your final score, Torrey Pine Falcons 38, the El Camino Wildcats 13, and the Torrey Pine Falcons are your 2A champions. The story of the game was the fact that doing such an excellent job, Torrey Pines running with the football, amassed 335 yards, Carl, of rushing offense tonight.
It was definitely a Torrey Pines night, and they played an outstanding football game. They never did get out of position most of the night. The kicking game, the kickoffs, they were in the end zone. They didn't give Westbrook and Booker a chance to run them back, and that took them out of the ball game because they're two good runners on that Wildcat team, and it was definitely just a good night for the Falcons.
To highlight the scoring, this is how it went. Kevin Winters from 13 yards out, 7-0 Torrey Pines with 7:47 left and actually 9:47 to go in the first quarter. Then it was a 25-yard touchdown pass from Ryan Lynch to Joel Brown, capping a 7-play 55-yard drive and a 14-0 Torrey Pines lead. Then Torrey Pines scores again to take a 21-0 lead. This time it was Brown on a 10-yard touchdown run, capping a 6-play 60-yard drive. Bryant Westbrook scored from 2 yards out. They were able to set up that offensive score off a poor punt to quarterback Ryan Lynch. So the score at that point was 21-7. Then before the half, Mike Booker would score from 3 yards out, capping an 11-play 51-yard drive, making it 21-13, and that's how they went into the locker room. Then opening up in the second half of play, it became 28-13. Torrey Pines on their first offensive possession of the second half went 8 plays, 75 yards. Josh Stern with an 18-yard touchdown run. Then eventually they kicked a 35-yard field goal by Ryan Lynch. That made it 31-13. And finally capping off the scoring, Josh Stern with a 10-yard touchdown run in the fourth made it the final 38-13. That a 7-play, 63-yard drive. Joel Brown was impressive, 153 yards and a pair of touchdown scores. And he is our player of the game, and we'll try and talk to him on the post-game show. There's your final score. Torrey Pines wins it big. Coming up, post-game show here on the high school football game of the week. Hey, John, I'll be with you in 1 minute. Welcome to the post-game show here at Jack Murphy Stadium, where tonight the Torrey Pine Falcons become the 2A champions as they defeat the El Camino Wildcats by the score of 38-13. The gentleman next to me, the second time we've talked to him on the post-game show, Joel Brown, unofficially 153 yards rushing offense and a couple of touchdowns tonight. An outstanding effort.
Yeah, I felt real good. The line was just making real big holes. This is probably the best game they ever had, and I mean, I owe this game to them. They came out and they played hard, so, you know, they're the ones who make it happen up front.
The first three offensive possessions for Torrey Pines, touchdown, 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 up 21-0. And you had to be feeling good, the offense had to be feeling good, and obviously very confident.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing that we always seem to try to do is to come out and get some scores early, because when you get that, the other team, they start thinking, you know, I don't know if we're going to be able to get back in this game. And what we want to do when we first get the ball is just drive it down their throats, and, you know, that's what we did. And we felt real confident after those three scores.
Talk about your senior quarterback, Ryan Lynch, a heady ball player. He really does a good job running that wing tee offense. Yeah,
in the wing tee, it's more important actually to get good handoffs, and fakes are real important because we try to make the defenders not know who has the ball, and he's great at that. He's one of the best I've ever seen at faking the football. And, you know, Gavin can come in there and throw the ball. Ryan can also throw the ball pretty well, and, you know, he's a great leader out there. He's real tough.
Now, it seemed defensively that the Falcon defense decided we're not going to let number 20 Bryant Westbrook defeat our team tonight, and they did a good job of gang tackling the senior.
Oh yeah, he's a tough runner. I mean, he's a horse, and we just had to gang tackle him because one guy can't bring him down. Try to get some shoulder pads on him.
Carl, you have some questions for Joel Brown.
Joel, I'd like to ask you about when your wing T, you shift quite a bit.
Yeah.
And your unbalanced line, early in the ball game, did El Camino make those adjustments and shift down? Because it looked like you were running at will against their outstanding defense, the #1 defense in the county.
Well, that was something new we put in this week where what we actually did is just lined up wherever we wanted, the backs, and Ryan would just give us a call and we moved back to our normal positions. And what that does, it makes the defense shift, and it worked real well. I think they came and adjusted to it in the second half a little bit better, but it started out real well.
Well, Joel, we've heard that you plan on being a communications major in college, and you've had a good opportunity talking us to here on the post-game show. Do you know what area of communications that you like to pursue?
Yeah, I was thinking about journalism. I like to write, and that's something I'm interested in.
Well, Joel Brown is our KOCT player of the game. We'd like to present this plaque to you, which has been generously put together by Alice Solomon at North County Trophies, Mission Avenue in Oceanside. Congratulations on leading the Torrey Pines to a 2A championship. We'll let you go celebrate with your team.
All right, thank you.
That's Joel Brown tonight, 153 yards rushing and a pair of touchdowns as Torrey Pines defeats El Camino by the count of 38-13. Carl, how would you sum things up tonight?
I think it was an outstanding night for the Falcons, wouldn't you, Joel?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And you kicked their butt, really, didn't you? And it must be an awfully good feeling for you. Your first championship for the school, and something you can always look back and remember.
Oh, it's a great feeling for us seniors who are going to be leaving. It's what we always dreamt of, and Coach Burke just helped us get here. Great coach.
Well, the Torrey Pine Falcons win by the count of 38-13. They finished the season 12-2. El Camino finishes with the same record, but there's one difference. Torrey Pines beat them twice, and for the first ever time, the Torrey Pine Falcons are the 2A county champs. For Carl Wickham and Joel Brown, Matt Beck and the entire crew, this is Mark Heller saying so long from San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. You've been watching high school football on KOCT Channel 37. Good night.